In this 25th anniversary year of September 11th, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation continues to honor America's heroes. Heroes like Fire Lieutenant Michael Wells, who was inspired by 9/11 to serve his community. After 14 dedicated years of service, he lost his battle with occupational cancer, leaving behind his wife, Katie, and their 3 children. Tunnel to Towers honored Lieutenant Wells by paying off the family's mortgage in recognition of his sacrifices. Donate $11 monthly and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
People come to our country and destroy it. For anyone to call themselves a Democrat who believes that America deserved 9/11, and she's able to say that in a country that she's defending a group of people who wouldn't allow her to say what she's saying, who wouldn't allow her to be the person that she wants to be and achieve and accomplish the things that she's accomplished. I said it the other day and I'll say it again. They offer no answers. There's nothing constructive. We're the most dynamic, the most innovative, the most creative group of people, economic system and economy in the world. At every point in each of the last few centuries, several centuries, America has faced a challenge to whom we are, where people felt excluded. The answer can't be to burn it down. That's what these people are saying. The answer was, how do we work from within with all the tools and assets and resources we have to make the country better? That's what we ought to be doing. And for those whom are not, and those who want to come into the Democratic Party, there has to be a little bit of an admission fee. And that fee has to be, you understand that the country is great, and our job is to try to make it greater, not burn it down.
That, my friend, is Harold Ford Jr. I must admit, before Barack Hussein Obama rose to prominence, I was telling people that Harold Ford Jr. would be the first black president of the United States, Democrat. And he is a liberal on many things, but on some things he absolutely has clarity. Harold Ford Jr., Tennessee, was on Fox News. That was his reaction to the election of Melat Kiros, another one of the socialists who won. As promised, ladies and gentlemen,
it's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
Her Highness Ness, goodness, the light, the enlightenment. And there's so much to be enlightened about, my friend, where you find the great analysis that we all need. Her Royalness is in the house. James Golden with Princess Diana. Welcome, Your Highness. How are you?
Thank you, Sir James, the Duke of Democracy, the sledgehammer of truth, and I'm very happy to speak with you.
We had last night this election of Melat Kiros, who hails from Ethiopia. You know, Ethiopians make really good coffee. I don't know whether you've ever had the Yershafirgi coffee. If you have not had Ethiopian Yershafirgi coffee, not the fake stuff, the real stuff, it is a coffee that is out of this world. But Ethiopia has sent us this young socialist, Melat Kiros. She took out a 30-year incumbent Democrat in Colorado. And what are your thoughts on that, Your Highness?
Well, as we talked about on Saturday, this is a national movement. I think people on our side have made sort of a mistake by saying this is a coastal, primarily a big city problem. This is a national Democrat movement. And as I had said, I mean, the hollowed out Democrat Party is collapsing like a souffle, and these communists, and we need to call them that, are right there ready to take over, and they have been pushing out the leadership for quite a while, and they were up against Nancy Pelosi's political power. And now that Nancy Pelosi is moving off the stage, they have no one to keep them in check, and so they are exploding nationally, and it is a problem.
Now, you say, by the way, and this is not pushback, but it's a question. You say we should call them communists. You know what? I don't think it matters anymore. When we were coming up, that's about the worst thing you could call somebody in the political world. You're a communist. You're a commie. the word has, to me, lost its meaning on the younger generation. They hear older, or now, gosh, I can't believe it, we're the old people. They hear the old people say, I can't stand it. How did this happen? We're the old people now.
Yeah,
they hear the old people. They hear the old people say, "Oh, that's just grandma and grandpa. Just something about some communist something." They don't know what communists are. They don't care what communists are. They say socialist because in their minds, socialist is cool. That's what they learned in school all these decades, that America was such an evil, horrible place and only the socialists can fix it. And so they look at themselves as being cool when you say, they're the socialists. Yeah, we're the cool people. Kind of like how the hippies looked at it being called hippies. Yeah, we're the hippies. And damn right. And you old people are the old establishment. We're the hip ones. And so we say socialists and communists, and I don't think it matters to them.
I disagree. I think that if they wanted to be called communists, which they are, they will say it to each other. They would call themselves communists, and they don't. And there is talk about pushback. They are giving pushback. I have seen a lot of coverage making fun of the Republicans and Trump particularly, saying, "Oh, they're bringing back the Red Scare," because I think that has to happen. We have to bring back the Red Scare because it is terrifying. The results of communism are always the same, and we need to name it and predict what's going to happen because we're correct on this. You say old people. We have been there, done that. I have in my office a small rock of human beings scrambled out of the Berlin Wall with their fingers. That is what communism does. It causes such scarcity and ruin and desperation that people end up dying to get out of it. And so to me, that lesson has to be proclaimed loud and strong. It needs to be called communism because I don't think they want to be called communists. And let me tell you something. Now that I'm on a rant, one of the problems, I think, for young people is there is no voice. I worked for the Reader's Digest for many years, and the Reader's Digest was in almost every home, and people understood the ruinous nature of communism because the Reader's Digest told those stories. There was a piece called Never I Go Back, where it was a young people who was trying to stay in America and fighting against every force, and he was finally able to. But to tell his story, you understood the terrors of loss of freedom in communism. There is no Reader's Digest message going into every home explaining what communism means. There is no Rush Limbaugh right now who took up that mantle and explained what communism means and said over and over and over, communists lie. And so we have to take up that mantle because it is nowhere loud and clear, and we need to use that term communist.
Okay. Look, I agree with the philosophy of what you're saying here. I think if people truly understood the nature of communism, I call the 20th century the deadliest century for humanity and for freedom that has ever existed. Why? Because first the 20th century, we had to deal with the Nazism. Even before that, if you go back to World War I, World War II was just a continuation of World War I. So you were fighting these forces that later morphed themselves into Nazism. But then you had the communists. And people, because Nazism and what happened under Hitler was so horrific and so struck human consciousness as we have never seen this type of evil before, what took place afterwards is not discussed nearly as much as what happened with the Nazis. When you look at what Joseph Stalin did, the starvation of 20 million people, when you look at what Mao Zedong and the communists did, we still don't know how many millions because that story has never been fully told, but is well believed easily over 20 million people. And then when you look at how that spread through Southeast Asia, you look at through Vietnam, Cambodia, what happened with all of that, the killing fields that took place. We don't, and not to mention, by the way, the other parts of it, which are get me on a roll, the environmentalist movement, which came out of it. Rachel Carson itself, with this phony DDT scare and them banning that, is said to be responsible for the death of over 50 million Africans because DDT was banned and disease spread on account of an environmental lie. Then you look at what took place with the abortion movement, Margaret Sanger and the liberals and that socialism. And you're looking at millions of people, a million people upwards a year just in America. So when you talk about these evils, I agree with you. This evil was unparalleled in human history.
And if you remember, there is a important book called The Black Book of Communism, which documents the numbers. And in the calculation of that book, which is very hard to find now, I happen to have a copy, 100 million deaths under communism and blamed on communism worldwide. And that has to be explained. We are left here for a reason, James. Being old, we have got to tell. We have got to explain. This information is stamped out of every single educational institution in this country. And it needs to be proclaimed because we know what communism is. We know what it does. We have seen the results. We have lived through it. And that is the problem, is young people have not had it told to them. And we need to call it what it is, because if they were proud of being communists, that's what they'd be calling themselves instead of Democrats, socialists, which sounds so nice.
Well, does it to me? If anybody remembers the official party of the Nazis, what was it?
Right.
It was the Democrat Socialist Party. The National Democrat Socialist Party. Those were the Nazis. So anyway, got me off on a 10. Go ahead.
Important. We have to say what it is, and we need to tell people what the results are 100% every time it's tried. And they always say, oh, well, it wasn't implemented correctly, in Cuba. It wasn't implemented correctly in all of these places where it failed and resulted in human misery. And so we need to explain that and tell it and report on it. And so this is what is being imported. This is an infection being imported into the political system, and it needs to be called out. And the fact is that they do not like to be called communists. And so we will call them what they are.
All righty. Princess Diana, we're going to take a quick break here, lady. When we get back, Princess Diana, let's talk Supreme Court. It was a busy week, busy term for the Supreme Court, and we shall cover it. We'll be right back. James Golden, Snerdley, with you here. Fastest hour in American media continues. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Princess Diana, so we went through communism. Let's talk Supreme Court. I have so many sound bites, but I'm going to hold them till Saturday because I just want to talk with you more than listen to someone else on these sound bites. We got them of that little communist girl that won last night, that blames the United States for 9/11, that wants instant, right away. She wants abolish ICE and give everybody here illegally an instant pathway to citizenship. This stuff is crazy. But
yeah,
let's
they want
talk
to abolish ICE, abolish police, abolish prisons, abolish borders, and abolish deportation. That is the platform of the DSA, the commies.
The commies. Okay, now let's talk. Birthright citizenship, you said prior to the decision you expected it. Any thoughts after it dropped?
Well, I just want to say, before we get into that specific ruling, looking at the win-loss record for the flurry of decisions, and Trump himself said the Republican Party was treated very fairly by the United States Supreme Court. We had 4 big wins. We had 2 important losses, but overall, the wins, and you have talked about one particularly, the Slaughter decision, that is huge as a way of Trump to get his arms around getting rid of the swamp. It allows Trump to fire people in these federal agencies that consider themselves independent, and that Trump is able, as the head of the executive, or any president is able, as head of the executive branch, to fire people in the executive agencies. So that is a huge 6-3 victory. The TPS ruling, the temporary protected status ruling that was terminated by Trump and the Supreme Court upheld, Mullen versus Doe, that the Syrians and the Haitians can be deported who had, it doesn't matter that they've been here since the earthquake in 2011 or whenever it was.
2010, yep.
They basically can be deported, and that is what will happen. And the aliens that are in Mexico, they are not entitled to apply for asylum just because they reach the border. That's Mullen versus Alaid. So, and the trans in sports ruling. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 big, huge, important victories.
Keep it right there, Princess Di. We're going to continue. I have more on this and others. Princess Di is here, folks. Fastest hour.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In 1975, 10cc were number one with this one, my friends. I'm Not in Love. Now, what you're hearing in the background, those nice ahs and all that stuff, back then, this was the stuff of recording legend. Musicians would understand this. This guy, the writer, created loops. This is way before computers. Computers can do this stuff easy now. Loops 12 feet in length, spent 3 weeks recording just the ah. 3 weeks recording it 16 times for each note of this chromatic scale. It ended up with 48 voices singing this each note of the scale, 12 loops on it, and he played them throughout a separate channel. Just all complicated stuff. Anyway, you can have a computer do this stuff now. Back then, nobody did it until he did it. And the results were genius in terms of recording stuff. So, great song, 10cc. But more importantly, great production, revolutionary production. James Golden and Snerdley, Princess Diana is in the house with us here. Princess, Supreme Court, you mentioned some of the other cases, including the Mullen-Doe with the TPS ruling. That was great. The other things that took place in this, to me, important ones that took place in this term include the Chevron decision, which doesn't get much play, but pretty much it is a major, major setback for the way that these environmentalist wackos were going after American and international businesses. That was a huge ruling. You had another ruling that I don't quite understand the implications, but everyone is saying, I don't understand the applications as much. I understand conceptually. And that was the one that came down this week, Charterie versus United States, where the court held that if you use geofence warrants, that's a search, and you have to go through. It involved the use of technology in geofencing, which is new. Which you can do wide areas of searches now using location finders in technology. But anyway, that's a big one. The other things, of course, we forget in this term, the one that liberals are going to hate and they're calling the worst thing ever, was the case regarding the ability to use the voting rights, Louisiana versus Calisius, that finally supposedly may put an end to this race-based districting that Democrats have used, and that is huge. And that's one of the biggest ones that came out.
And the campaign finance one, which was a very recent, which Trump celebrated, allowing, people to contribute, whereas there have been so many restrictions politically that the Republicans have suffered from. So there have been a lot, you're right, throughout the term. But I'm just talking about the ones the flurry of them that came out in the last few days. And interestingly
Yes.
enough, I that geofencing
Yeah, and
allowed the deep state to basically round up all of the January 6th people who were just in Washington, D.C. They used that method. And so this is huge. They will not be able to.
This is how they did it with the geofencing?
Yes. Yes. That's how they round up everybody.
Whoa. So this now, so the court says you can't just geofence openly because this you need individual search warrants.
Right. And they did. They scooped up people who were simply in D.C. that day. And basically that's how all of those hundreds of people were brought into the injustice system at the time. And so this is a very big ruling for freedom.
OMG. So I agree. By the way, I'm not a person, people are whining and moaning about Amy Coney Barrett and Roberts, and I don't even get into all of that. I mean, the decisions are the decisions. We can itch and moan about individuals, like us moaning about Souter way back in. He didn't care. They don't care. They're there for life. Yes, so just go ahead and moan all you want to. But I think that the birthright case left Congress plenty of opportunity to fix things. Yeah. And I love the fact that Harry Reid's legislation, Harry Reid, the one that said that Obama could win because he knew how to speak that Negro dialect when he could and then turn off the Negro dialect when he wanted to. That Harry Reid used to be the Democrat majority leader for the Senate. They're bringing back his bill on birthright. Moreno is bringing back his bill on birthright citizenship.
Yes, it's a Harry Reid bill from 1993. It died in committee, in the Judiciary Committee, but word for word, it is exactly the solution to the birthright citizenship issue loophole. And as you know, in the ruling, Kavanaugh, in his opinion, laid out how to do it. The quote is, Congress could, consistent with the 14th Amendment, amend the statute or otherwise enact new legislation establishing exceptions to birthright citizenship for children born to foreign citizens unlawfully or temporarily in the court. Congress has not yet done so. Now, if you remember, Kavanaugh was the justice who also laid out for Trump in a decision that went against him on tariffs a workaround, which Trump immediately implemented. So Kavanaugh, thanks to Kavanaugh, I'm very grateful for Kavanaugh to lay out the roadmap of what a response that would pass muster with the court. I want to also thank Clarence Thomas because his dissent. Now, as you know, Clarence Thomas is usually a man of few words on the court. He doesn't ask a whole lot of questions or hasn't over his history. And his dissents or opinions are usually short and sweet. He wrote 91 pages of a dissent in this birthright citizenship case. And he lays out for posterity, for all of us, the history of the 14th Amendment, the philosophy, the ideology of the American history of what a citizen is, how it came to be, what the rulings have been in the past. And he basically took the rest of the court to school. And I think that those 91 pages need to be made into a book that needs to be studied nationally. I think almost everything he says, every speech he gives, Clarence Thomas is somebody that is an American hero, an American treasure. And I agree with the Babylon Bee headline, quote, Trump announces $1 trillion project to clone Clarence Thomas. Because if we could do that on the court, we would have justice every day. So I'm so appreciative of Clarence Thomas's scholarship and all of what he did. He explained how basically the court hijacked the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was for the legacy for African Americans who, in 1857, Dred Scott were that case in the Supreme Court. Black people were not citizens, and the 14th Amendment answered that. It was designed for the posterity of African Americans brought over unwillingly to be slaves. It has been hijacked by the court and given to illegal aliens. It is an outrage. And so that is something that is the more people who understand that, who understand the error of this decision, I think that is a very important thing for Americans to be educated as to what the injustice was here. And
somebody might want to, you might want to point that out to Abby Phillip over at CNN. She attacked Justice Thomas. We have that in the sound bites. I'm not going to play it today. As I said, I'm going to hold the sound bites with you for Saturday. I want to revisit some of this stuff Saturday. That one I want to do, Abby Phillip. I mean, there is one sound bite, though, that I would like to play for you, but it's not connected with this. But anyway, I agree with you on Justice Thomas's decision, and I think that the person that needs to write the book, maybe you should take it upon yourself. You're an amazing writer. Maybe you should just do a book explaining what Justice Thomas is between the speech and this, what this means for America.
Oh, I would love to.
Well, then do it, damn it. Because you could do it.
He's an amazing writer. He can write his own
But
book.
no. But look, no. It's sometimes better for someone to explain it. He can do it, but you should do it. You should write the book. This is what this means for America. This is why this is important. And that speech that he gave, if you just did those two things, right. Why Justice Thomas is an American hero, the speech and this, I think it would be an amazing book.
It needs to be done. I love that idea.
Do it, yeah. Damn it.
Okay. We will co-author it, James.
I can't write about the legal stuff. This is, but I can help. Anyway, you're a wordsmith. I have to ask you a question. How many syllables are in the word chain?
One. Okay, you tell me.
Carlos, play 15. State rep. She wants to be your senator in Florida. Her name is Angie Nixon. Play that.
We have nothing to lose but our chains. Our chains are attacks on the Voting Rights Act. Our chains are them closing down our neighborhood schools. Our chains are them spending $1 billion on a ballroom you will never get to dance in. Never, ever get to dance in.
You ain't gonna dance in
Our
it.
chains are them
kidnapping
our immigrant neighbors
and
and locking them up.
Yes.
Our chains are them not arresting corrupt cops that shoot black unarmed men in the streets.
How many times has that happened?
Our chains are the attacks on women's rights.
Yeah.
Our chains are them emboldening racists to come into my district and shoot 3 black people in the Dollar General and only say that person was a little off and didn't even want to say that he was a racist. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win.
Win. Hold on. So, Princess Dot, not only is Chinese not wanting to, but win. It's our duty to win. And we got to win so we can get rid of the Chinese and dance in the ballroom. And
it reminds me of Hillary Clinton when she said, got up in the front of the African American church and did the poem, I ain't no ways tired.
I ain't no way tired.
So yes,
but Angie's not faking the accent. She's legitimate.
James, you have done a very good imitation of her when she goes into preacher mode, and you can do this one as well. Very fun.
My chains, I'm worried because them black and white cops killing them black kids. And never mind all the black kids killing each other every day in Chicago, in Florida, because Lord knows that the most black kids are killed by other black kids. But never mind, because them ain't in chains or them incidents where somebody white kills somebody black. But never mind all them black deaths from the chains. In fact, we're going to get on the chain gang. Good Lord, Agnes, I get so tired.
I have not heard of her. What does her polling look like?
I don't know. She's running for your state. She's running for U.S. Senate, though. She wants to be the senator from Florida.
Well, I don't think she has much of a chance, actually.
You don't think that old Angie going to get rid of the chains?
I find that hard to believe, but, I'll have to check out the polling on her. I'm sorry, I haven't heard of her.
Okay. Speaking of chains, when we get back, we're going to have a clip of the day. Got to make everything 2 syllables around here. No more 1-syllable words allowed. So when we get back, ladies and gentlemen, the clip of the day. So whatever you do, don't go away. Princess Di, stay where you are with me for the clip of the day. We'll be right back.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The clip of the day. You want to hear it. It's the clip of the day.
And Princess Diana was the one who alerted me to the clip this morning. It is Mike Lawler into a discussion with Jamie Raskin yesterday at a congressional hearing.
So while some of my colleagues may
cities.
not want to hear the truth, the same outrage you feel about Renee Good and Alex Preddy, you should feel about Sheridan Gorman and Laken Riley and every Angel family in this country.
I do feel that outrage.
You do not. Because if you did, you would not support sanctuary
Do you feel the outrage about Alex Preddy and Renee Good? You should be ashamed. You don't belong in this committee. You should get the hell out of here. You don't understand the rules of the committee. You don't understand the Constitution.
You're a disgrace.
Mr. Raskin,
You're an absolute disgrace supporting sanctuary
Say
policy.
one word about
Get rid of sanctuary
Alex Preddy.
I did. I wrote a whole New York Times op-ed about it. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself for not opposing sanctuary policies that resulted in their daughter's death.
The committee.
Princess Di, you want to explain the context of all that to everybody?
The clip I had seen was TMZ interviewing Lawler afterwards and basically saying, can't we all get along? Can't we tone down the rhetoric? This was basically at a hearing where the Democrats were just loyal to the angel moms who testify, and basically the angel moms were treated as, why do we even have to bother listening to you, by the Democrats. And so the Republican who was standing up for his constituent mother, the mother of the murdered daughter, basically had it out with the Democrats, and that's why it was very hard to understand what they were saying, but he stood up for them, and I'm very glad.
Mike Lawler, and this was, by the way, he was introducing the angel mom, and the Democrats wouldn't even permit that. He was going through what she has gone through. Pramila Jayapal basically said, why do we have to be here? This is the 4th hearing on this. Why are we even doing this? Why are we talking to these mothers? Basically is what she was saying. Why do we have to talk to these mothers who lost their kids from our illegal immigration policies? Why do we have to do it? It is a disgrace.
Yes, she said we have better things to do, basically.
We have better things to do. Princess Diana, thank you. My darling, thank you. We look forward to catching up with you Saturday, God willing.
Thank you, James. It's always wonderful to speak with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on this day in 2005, sad day in music, Luther passed away. If you don't remember, Luther Vandross, this song was one of the breakout songs for Luther when he was with a group called Change. Not Chains, but Change. They did 2 albums together. This was one of his breakout songs. And, of course, Luther Vandross would become one of the major vocalists of the latter part of the 20th century. And his solo career was brilliant. Also, so many duets. Everybody from Beyonce, Chaka, Diana Ross, Barbra Streisand, Mariah. Just amazing vocalists. There will never be another Luther Vandross. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you. Oh my gosh. Love Luther. God bless your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow for the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. In the meantime, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.